Buenos dias, familia. Israel Torres here with Jasmine from Cat Village Studios and, of course, Caribbean American Passport News 2. And for the viewers who may not know you, please introduce yourself and tell us about your legal career and what motivated you to seek another term as 9th Judicial Circuit Judge.
Buenos dias. My name is Mikaela Nix. If you are a former law client for Nix Law PA, you would call me Attorney Nix. If you are one of my students at Seminole State or Valencia College, you would call me Dr. Nix. If you're in my courtroom, you're going to call me Judge Mikaela Nix Walker along with my husband. But my favorite title is Mommy. I had a baby on the bench and she's a toddler. And although many titles are called, I answer to them all. I'm a trailblazer, a native Floridian, and I've been assigned thousands of cases over the last 5.5 years in Osceola and Orange County. I'm still about fairness, honesty, and equal access to justice to all. I'm excited to say that in 2020, I became the first African-American woman to win a contested race along with my colleague, and boy was I thrilled. And that's the reason why I continue to want to seek advocacy on this bench. Because diversity is not just in race, skin color, or sexual orientation. It's about the experiences. How many people can you relate to? How many cultures do you know? How many tables of leadership can you sit at and feel comfortable? And I think I do that better than my opponents. I am seeking re-election, Judge Nix Walker, or Judge Nix, as you will see on the ballot, 2026, on or about August the 18th. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much to the interviewees.
You have served in both criminal and family court during your judicial career. How have those experiences shaped your approach to administering justice?
So, we live in the city beautiful. Orlando is one of the biggest tourist industries, and Kissimmee too, right along upcoming. And I found that people are so different here, meaning lots and lots of cultures. And so sitting on that criminal bench, assigned to thousands of cases, and sitting on the domestic bench, what I realized is that people just want to be related to. They want to feel like they're heard, and they want to feel like they're respected. And that's what I bring to the table. Fairness and honesty and impartiality. I don't care who you are, where you come from, what your race is, sexual orientation, gender. I will treat everyone with respect. But then I go the next level. I'm relatable. I'm understanding of cultures and people. And the rule of law doesn't change. But that compassion, when you understand people, it allows you to look at them not as a case, but as someone who is in your courtroom that have a problem that I am ready and willing to solve. You see, the weight of the result is what you look for when you're a judge.
Judicial elections are different from legislative or executive races. How would you explain the role of a circuit judge and why is judicial independence so important?
Well, I'm elected. And being elected, I care about the people. And when you're talking about judicial independence, you can't care if someone's going to run against you or if someone else doesn't like what you're doing. You have to be able to be courageous in your leadership. You have to be able to be independent thinking. And you also have to know that what you rule will have a major impact. And so thoughtfulness, anticipation, and preparation are key. And that's how you keep your judicial independence. You remind yourself every day that you are an advocate for the law.
One of the greatest expectations of any judge is to remain fair and impartial. How do you ensure every person who enters your courtroom feels that they have been heard and treated with respect?
Well, Mom always told me to respect everyone who comes in front of you. And that doesn't mean just as a judge. That means literally everyone who comes before you, because they're a human being and they're able to be respected. And so I've carried that out throughout my entire life. And so again, it's just not about respect. That's foundational. I don't care what job you have. You should respect every single person. But it goes to that next level. Can you relate and understand what that person or that person's culture is? And I try my best to do that. You see, as a judge, I believe that you have to have tools in your toolbox that affect the community, that help the community. And I go above and beyond by doing that. So fair and impartial is, to me, the bottom line. And then from there, the rule of law.
Family law cases often involve emotionally difficult situations for parents and children. What principles guide you when presiding over these sensitive matters?
Well, that's a great question. And when you are in family, the standard is the best interest of the child. And so it's going to be emotional. But sometimes you have to remind everyone that even though it's an emotional time, we have to be able to, number one, do some type of mediation before you come into the courtroom. And two, remind folks that adverse childhood experiences are real and they affect everyone. And to be mindful of your emotions. But that goes back to that judge. When you're relatable, when you're fair, when you're impartial, and when you demand that respect in your courtroom, it goes well. And even though everybody doesn't get what they necessarily thought they were coming in, they leave feeling that they've been heard. They leave feeling that justice has been served in one way or another. And I believe that's the key when you're talking about high emotions. And most importantly, when you're talking about children, they are the best interest standard is what we look for. And I believe that is how you keep emotions at bay. You remind people of the bottom line. And again, that goes back to the difference between a lawyer and a judge. The weight of the win is replaced by the weight of the result.
Many people enter the court system without an attorney and may find the legal process very overwhelming. What can the courts do to make the judicial system more understandable and accessible while still remaining impartial?
Well, I believe that goes back to relatability. The more that you can relate to people and cultures, the easier it is for them. And that's why I believe that diversity in languages are important. We live in the city Beautiful and Kissimmee, and this is a tourist industry. You're having people all around the world visiting Orlando. And so diversity in languages. Sometimes I have to wait for an interpreter because that person may speak Russian or Turkish or some type of other language outside of Spanish or Creole. And this can have the legal system waiting for that interpreter, and that could lead to backlogs. That could lead to people not having their opportunity to be heard in a timely fashion. And so I think that we are doing an amazing job in family. We have added that people who and pro se who do not speak English are afforded an interpreter. That is just in the last year that we're doing that. And I think that the Ninth Circuit is doing a great job, but we could do more as far as languages and diversity in those said languages, especially being in such a tourist hub.
Throughout your legal and judicial career, what has been the most valuable lesson you've learned about leadership and public service?
Patience. You are dealing with people who are at some of their worst times in their life. And patience is key. Sometimes it is slowing down, speaking to people at a rate and a pace where they can understand because they're going through an emotional situation. And that also comes about with what tables can you sit at. Leaders know that each situation is different. Sometimes you need to be harsh, sometimes you need to be compassionate, and being a leader and a good leader means stopping, being patient, and assessing the situation before you move on. And that's what I think a good leader does. And that's what I think that I've learned on the bench. Being assigned to over thousands of cases. A lot of times people don't know that judges have a very procedural and administrative role. And so I believe patience is key. Slowing down, understanding, being patient, not rushing, letting a person be heard, and even if that means getting all of their emotions out, letting them do that so they can have some type of closure in the case.
Technology continues to change how courts operate, from virtual hearings to electronic filing. What role do you believe technology should play in improving the efficiency and accessibility of Florida's court system?
I think we're doing great with technology, but I do want to remind everyone that as we talk about technology, everybody doesn't have a laptop. Everybody doesn't have a computer. Everybody doesn't have a smartphone. So having that balance between the virtual hearings and in-person hearings are important because everyone doesn't have that necessary, everybody does not have technology so accessible. Sometimes we take that for granted. And so I believe that in-court hearings are just as important as virtual. And in my courtroom, I normally have in-person with an option of virtual, just so I know that everyone has an opportunity to be heard, regardless if you have a laptop, a computer, or any type of smartphone.
Public confidence in the judiciary is very essential. What steps can judges take to maintain transparency, professionalism, and trust while preserving the integrity of the courts?
Talking to the public. The public trusts people who they see, people who they know, people who are out in their communities, people who are visiting in the nonprofit organizations, people who are having tools in their toolbox that they can pull on out when they need to. Public trust depends on the public, which means that judges don't just sit on a bench. They are active in their community. And I believe when you're active in your community, the community will show up for you.
Finally, what message would you like to share with voters about your qualifications, your record of service, and why you are seeking another term as 9th Judicial Circuit Judge?
Well, first of all, I am humbly honored to have been chosen for this job. And I love my job. And I love the residents of Orange and Osceola County. There's so many unique, different people and experiences. I want to remind people, though, that experience matters, that you don't have to wonder what or if I'm going to be able to do the job. I'm on the job, practicing that job every single day. The second thing that I want people to know is I'm relatable. I understand cultures, I understand people, and I go out of my way to make sure that I recognize those cultures. And I go out of my way to learn about the nonprofit organizations that help and assist the Central Florida community. I'm still about fairness and honesty. I'm family oriented. That's another notch on the belt, another leadership role that I can sit at, another table that I am available at. I sit on multiple boards, including the FAMU Advisory Board, which helps law students, Tiger Bay, Central Florida Boy Scouts. I'm a Girl Scout. All of these experiences matter because those are the people that are coming in front of you. And so whether you're talking about agriculture, I feel just as comfortable on the back of the horse, or whether you're talking about making sure that we're advocating for the best interest of the child and we're going for grieving parents or grieving homes, as we're all just one accident away or one thing away from being humbled. I think that the residents of Orange and Osceola County came out for me in the year of 2020, and I believe that I have not changed or faltered. I'm still in the community, and I'm proud to be elected to this position, and I'm proud to be the people's judge.
Well, Your Honor, it was an honor.
Thank you very much.
And we're not going to keep you away from the campaign trail too much longer. I know tomorrow we will definitely be seeing you at the Pine Hills Hob Nob.
I will be there.
So there will be a lot more questions to ask there.
I look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow, and I look forward to everybody who had get an opportunity to come out to watch these videos, because whether or not you're voting for me, voting is important.
With that being said, have a blessed day.
Thank you.